Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. 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 Vijana Vallabha Girivardhana. Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhana. Yashodanandana Rajajana Rajana. Yashodanandana Rajajana Rajana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Gauranita, Jaya Gauranita, Jaya Gauranita, Jaya Gauranita, Jaya Gauranita, Jaya Krishna Balaram, 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 Jaya Krishna Balaram. Looking at this map of nectar of instruction and see if you can write down the criteria of your personal success. How will you, at each of these verses, at each of these stations there, how will you know that you are successful, that you are moving forward? So we have the first one within. Of course, there can be many criteria, but you can please write down at least one. something that you are doing, what you can see, how you can judge that you are moving forward in this particular connection. So we have the 6 Vedas, the 6 currents in the heart, we have the 6 poisons, and we have the 6 antidotes or herbs, medicinal herbs that can bring a dead person to life. Then we have 6 exchanges. Can you please write some, at least one point for each of these things that will be success criteria? What will you see? What will you do? What will others? What will other people perceive every day, or in the morning, or what will you feel, or what will you hear? What will other people hear? Up to the 8th verse. Because in the 8th verse, you will be attracted to some particular rasa. The 8th verse, Srila Prabhupada will come to us and tell us that you are Malati Manjari. You should make garlands.
I have a question on that.
Yes.
It's possible?
Yeah.
Like, is it always like Krishna's will what happened to us, or we can, with a negative mind, we can influence the events?
What does it matter? If it has already happened, then...
No, but for the future.
For the future, yes. It's definitely influenced by our negative or wrong thoughts and acts and decisions, and at the same time Krishna uses all these for his...
Yeah, no, not accepted.
No, certainly we can be in Maya, and certainly we can make mistakes. Definitely everything is influenced by our mistakes. We take responsibility, and we do not blame Krishna. At the same time, we do not become overly focused on ourselves or on the mistakes. Mistakes are there to learn.
So this is Krishna's will?
That we learn. Yes. Krishna's will is that we learn. And Krishna's will is that he gives us free choice and an ability to make mistakes. A person cannot learn if he cannot make mistakes. So it's important to be able to make mistakes. And then,
but for example, I choose the wrong guru, for example. Then,
okay.
Then what? Then
Then
who
you
is
learn.
responsible?
Then you learn.
And I learn.
Yeah.
This is not Krishna's will that I choose this person, for example.
Well, we are attracted to a certain person by by our nature. Right? We have certain nature, and therefore we are attracted to this or to that or the other one. And if I became attracted for some wrong reasons, yes, if, for example, I'm interested in power, or I'm interested, in this whole. There was a time when there was no choice, and then a choice appeared, but then we had one guru who was very powerful, and his people were everywhere. And then there were some other gurus which were not so powerful. So I could, maybe I could have chosen this one powerful guru, famous guru, because just because I, like his lectures or something, or maybe I could have chosen him because I want to be in the power group. And that would be a wrong motive, and this motive would lead me to suffering. And we see that in this particular case, in our location, that led that guru to problems. One of the biggest problems was that he didn't stop his disciples from offending some Vaishnavas, and so that backfired very badly. And then we see that the people who have sincerity, maybe there's always a mixture, some sincerity, who comes to Krishna consciousness for entirely material reasons. It's not the place to become rich or to, I don't know what you. So there must be some sincerity to join, and at the same time there may be some motives. So if there were too many material motives, and one is burnt in one of these ways, then we can see that if one becomes turns to the sincere part, then they continue. They take shelter in Srila Prabhupada, they are serious about the process, and they become deep. Oftentimes they become more surrendered. I have seen many devotees like that. They become more serious. At the same time, some others I see, they don't understand. Then they go choose. They try to find another power guru, and then they go around and beat everybody over the head. You should join our guru is my guru is the best. And then they start sometimes disappointed in that guru. Then they go third or place or some other place. And so then they will be getting these lessons again and again. Okay. So Krishna's plan is that you have a free choice, and that this free choice is accommodated, that you can misuse your free will. At the same time, there is plenty of instruction, and there is plenty of help to see what are the mistakes, and if we are ready to hear and learn, then we can learn very quickly. We can learn very quickly. At any rate, even if by your maybe service you have to sometimes be harsh about somebody, maybe say some harsh things to somebody, maybe you can create, or just by your success somebody becomes a little enemy. You do not consider anybody an enemy. I have 2 years ago I have heard one amazing thing which struck me. Anyone ever felt rejected by someone, some particular person? Mm-hmm. So what I heard is that whenever we feel rejected, we also reject that person, either after or before. So it's always a two-way traffic. Either when it's like interconnected. When I feel rejected, usually I then find some fault in that person, and I think, oh, he's... Or even before, I was kind of, in a more gross or subtle way, rejecting this person. Can you think about this? Can you find it?
What means reject? Zurückweisen?
Ablehnen. Ablehnen. It's quite amazing. And that also shows that we have a lot of influence ourselves. People can reject us, but we don't have to reject them. And if someone rejects you, but you don't reject them, somebody condemns you, but you don't condemn them, you don't join the game. They sling mud at you, but you don't join the game. Then oftentimes it just can dissolve. Anyway, this is food for thought. Maybe some practical considerations also, and life is complicated, but this is a very interesting analysis of interrelationships, that we can at least work on not rejecting the person internally. And even if it's necessary for practical reasons to confront a person, to stop some behavior or correct some behavior, still it's good if you do this without rejecting the person. You still have to see the good side in the person. Yeah. Okay, so you don't have enemies. It's very good. Very powerful criterion. Other devotees are happy with you. And one other criterion is that you are happy with relationships, right? You have fulfilling relationships. Your soul is nourished by these. You have friends, relationships with whom nourish you. And you make time to have this exchange with friends, with other devotees. Okay, so we have to have some criteria to see we are moving, and then it's good to set goals like this, and from time to time to review. And the last 3 verses for us are such a bright picture of the goal. So we are approaching the description of the first of the last 3 verses. Verse 9 describes, you can say, the locality, these mountains around, because from far it's hard to say which mountain is higher and which mountain is a little lower, because all of them are so high for me. So here we have Rupa Goswami giving the comparative hierarchy or analysis of different spiritual places, meaning where is the best place. Then verse 10 describes different practitioners. Verse 9 was where, verse 10 will be who are the most expert, I don't know, mountain trekkers in this spiritual realm. Who are the best, who are the highest practitioners. And mantra 11 is the conclusion describing the ultimate goal. What are we doing in that spiritual realm, in that spiritual content. So, why don't we chant text 9? Vaikunta janito Adi-Purusha Prasotsava Vrindaranya Mudarabani Ramana Tadrapi Govardhanam Radha Kunda Vihavi Gokulapate Premamrita Pladana Kuryadyasya Virajato Giritate Sevam Vivekhinaka. The holy place known as Mathura is spiritually superior to Vaikuntha, the transcendental world, because the Lord appeared there. Oftentimes when Mathura is mentioned, it means the whole Mathura Mandala, or Raja Mandala. And when it says that Krishna appeared there, Krishna appeared actually simultaneously in both places. And in the Bhagavatam there are some verses which point out this fact. Krishna simultaneously appeared in Mathura and in Vrindavan. And then when Vasudeva brought Krishna to Vrindavan, then this Mathura Krishna merged into the Vrindavan Krishna. This is what actually happened. Because it describes that Nanda Maharaj performed the birth ceremony for Krishna, and that means he cut the umbilical cord. So that means there was an umbilical cord in Vrindavan. Otherwise, this umbilical cord could not have been 15 kilometers going to Mathura, right? So Krishna was born both there and there. But Mathura is higher than Vaikuntha. Superior to Mathura, Puri is the transcendental forest of Vrindavan because of Krishna's Rasa Lila pastimes. So this is Sharat Purnima, autumn Rasa Lila, where all the gopis are invited. Krishna is playing the flute and calling everybody. So some places it describes 3 billion gopis are dancing. In that shot, Krishna is dancing with each of the gopis. That's Vrindavan, Vrindavan Ras. And superior to the forest of Vrindavan is Govardhan Hill. So Govardhan Rasa dance is more exclusive. It's for a smaller group of Krishna's gopis. For it was raised by the divine hand of Shri Krishna and was the site of his various loving pastimes. So Govardhan is the deity of the gopis. The gopis, when they are in separation with Krishna, they go and pray to Govardhan. Govardhan is a very beloved deity of all the Vaishnavas. Govardhan is very kind. Govardhan is happy to engage in interactions with devotees, and it serves Krishna in so many ways. And above all, the super excellent Shri Radhakunda stands supreme. So Radhakund, it's not even the best gopis are allowed there. It's only Radharani's gopis who are allowed in that place. For it is overflooded with the ambrosial nectarian prema of the Lord of Gokul, Shri Krishna. Where then is that intelligent person? Where then is that intelligent person? Who is unwilling to serve the divine Radhakund, which is situated at the foot of Govardhan Hill? Shri Radhakund ki jai. At the same time, the blessings are that one who bathes in Radhakund and develops the same mood as Radharani. However, Radharani said that anyone who bathes in your kund, Krishna, will become very dear to me. So Shyamakund has even more amazing blessing for us. You know, we become dear to Radharani. And oftentimes we don't think about, you know, Shyamakund as so special. But if you bathe in Shyamakund, you become dear to Srimati Radharani. Of course, so that's why you can see Mahaprabhu's method is first bathed in Shyamakund, then in Radhakund, and then again in Shyamakund. But some devotees are saying that they are connected anyways. There is a channel, so you know, if you bathe in one, you bathe in both.
So when we are allowed to take bath in that holy place, I know I will do Maharaj, I will be never allowed actually.
We are coming to that. We are coming to that. It's 2 verses from here. Yeah. So when Mahaprabhu Gauranga came there, he was searching, then he heard that there is Aridgram, and then he asked, are there any lakes here? And then he saw that there are 2 lakes in a rice field. And then he went there, and he saw them, and he bathed in them, and he felt, he went in total ecstasy. He started dancing and crying and singing, and you know, the villagers were looking and thinking, this 2-meter tall sannyasi is bathing in our rice field, and then he's going mad. What is this? And another villager said, no, this is not a sannyasi, this is a very special person. Look, he has so much love for Krishna that not an ordinary living entity cannot have so much love for Krishna. So this is how they were rediscovered, Radhakunda and Shyamakunda. And then Raghunath Das Goswami was living there. Rupa Goswami was there. All the Goswamis were coming there. Rupa Goswami writes this here, so definitely he was also. Sananda Goswami every day he was going there, and many kilometers. And then Raghunath Das Goswami, he was living there, and one day he was sitting chanting there, and he was thinking, it would be so nice to make the banks nicely with a stone for both the kundas. But then he thought, wow, it will cost so much money. But better I forget about it. I'm a sannyasi, I shouldn't even think about this. So he stopped thinking about this. And at that same time, there was a very rich merchant in Badrinath, in Badrikasha, who brought a very big donation to Badrinarayan. And Badrinarayan came to him in a dream and he said, listen, take that donation and go to Vrindavan, go to Govardhan, and there you will find one lake, and near that lake there is one Raghunath Das Goswami. Give this money to him and tell him that I have sent you. Tell him that I have sent you. So he said, wow. I mean, even for him to go to Badrinath in those days, it was several months of journey. It was all by foot, and it was dangerous. So he went down, and then he came to Raghunath Das Goswami, and he said, here I brought Narayan in Badri Narayan told me to bring this money to you. So Raghunath Das Goswami said, I'm a renunciate, I don't need any money. So he said, no. Narayan said that I should give it to you, and that I should tell you that he told me that you should take this money. And then he remembered, I wanted to create, to excavate, to make, to restore Radhakunda and Shyamakunda. So then he told this merchant, okay, so then you hire people and you arrange nice stone banks for Radhakunda and Shyamakunda. And in one place, regarding bathing, he made a ramp. So in one place here there is a ramp, a slightly sloping entrance into Radhakund for the buffaloes, because he wanted also even the buffaloes to get advantage. bathing rather. So Mahani Goswami writes that, you know, if Raghunath Das Goswami thought that even buffaloes would be good if they also get some benefit out of it. Anyway, we are coming to this discussion, and as you correctly said, it also all depends on the mood of our spiritual master. Shri Radha Kund ki jai, Shri Govardhan Giridhari ki jai, Nidai Gokamanande. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. We have heard about the hierarchy of places, about different places, which is higher and higher and highest. And now we are hearing about hierarchy of practitioners, sadhakas and processes. Verse 10. Karmi vyaparito hare priyataya vyaktim yayur gyaninas tebhyo gyana vimukta bhakti parama premaika-nishtas tata tebhyasta pasupala pankajadrishas tabhyo pisaradika preshta tadvadiyam tadiya sarasi amnasrayet kakriti. So we have the whole yoga ladder, 3 categories. Bhaktisiddhanta Ji always brings in 3 things we are rejecting. Vikarmis or vikarma, sinful activity, karma, pious, karmic activity, and so-called akarma or impersonalism. So here also we have karmis are higher than vikarmis. So karmis are also dear to Krishna, according to this verse, because they are following his instructions in the Veda. Right? And if they do this properly, even through karma kanda, they are coming in touch with the holy names, and their faith in the Veda increases, and they may gradually meet some brahmanas who are conversant with the Upanishads, and gradually they learn that we are soul, we reincarnate, so gradually they may graduate to the higher level and become a jnani, have a higher goal. Unless they also have greater fortune of meeting a devotee. So in the Shastra it is said that of all types of fruited workers, he who is advanced in knowledge of the higher values of life is favored by the Supreme Lord Hari. Out of many such people who are advanced in knowledge, jnanis, and who is one who is practically liberated by virtue of his knowledge, may take to devotional service. So vikarmis, they are, you know, it's a pitiable, it's an unfortunate position. Then karmis who are following Veda, it's a fortunate position, but still, you know, they are bound and no guarantee of not falling down. Then those who are have achieved success in karma yoga, or not karma, karma kanda, and they have become yogis. So they are jnanis, they are higher. And those who are already liberated as jnanis, they can become devotees. So may take to devotional service. He is superior to the others. However, one who has actually attained prema, pure love of Krishna, is superior to him. So the jnanis can be impersonal, but then they take to devotional service like Kumaras, and then one who attains prema, it's someone like Narada. So Narada is higher than those jnanis who are just practicing bhakti, but maybe they don't have prema. The gopis are exalted above all the advanced devotees, because so the name for the gopis is Pashupala Pankajadrisha. So Pashupala means gopis, they are taking care of the cows, and Pankajadrisha, lotus eye. Because they are always totally dependent upon Sri Krishna, the transcendental covered boy. Among the gopis, Shrimati Radharani is the most dear to Krishna. So this is the whole scale, from karmis all the way to pure devotees and to Shrimati Radharani. Shrimati Radharani ki jai! Jai Jai Shri Radhe! Jai Jai Shri Radhe! Kunda lake is as profoundly dear to Lord Krishna as this most beloved of the gopis. So her lake is as dear to Krishna as Radharani herself. And the previous verse said that Radhakunda is filled with Radha Prema. Who then will not reside at Radhakunda and in a spiritual body, surcharged with ecstatic devotional feelings, aprakrita bhava, render loving service to the divine couple Shri Shri Radha Govinda, who perform their Ashtakalya Lila, their eternal eightfold daily pastimes. Indeed, those who execute devotional service on the banks of Radhakunda are the most fortunate people in the universe. So, we are having the full range, starting from vikarmis, who are engaging in mad activities, in mad sinful activities, and then karmis and jnanis, and then all the way to the gopis. So the gopis are the highest example of love of Krishna. Even though when we read about or hear about gopis, it may not always be easily understandable. Prabhupada writes, of all these gopis, of all these devotees, the gopis are recognized as superior because they do not know anything other than satisfying Krishna. So why are they superior? They don't know anything other than satisfying Krishna. Nor do the gopis expect any return from Krishna. They don't even expect him to marry them or be with them. Or indeed, sometimes Krishna puts them into extreme suffering by separating himself from them. So vipralamba, no separation. Nonetheless, they cannot forget Krishna. When Krishna left Vrindavan for Mathura, the gopis became most dejected and spent the rest of their lives simply crying in separation from Krishna. This means that in one sense they were never actually separated from Krishna. There is no difference between thinking of Krishna and associating with people. Rather, Vipralamba Seva, thinking of Krishna in separation, as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did, is far better than serving Krishna directly. So this is when Krishna came back, then the gopis, they were happy he came back during the Rasa dance, but still they said, Krishna, which lover is better? There are lovers who respond equally. There are lovers who do not respond, who do not reciprocate the love of the lover. And then, yes, so there are different, there are those who respond, and then there are those who love regardless of whether they are loved or not. So then Krishna is responding to them that yes, there are ungrateful people, and then there are people who are envious to their benefactors, and there are people who are satisfied in themselves, Atmaramas and Atmakamas. And so that's why they may not be reciprocating. And then those who love only when they are loved, then they are like businessmen, you see. It's not a high level of love. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm neither of these lovers. I do not belong to any of these categories. So Krishna explained that he left the gopis so that they could experience this higher ecstasy of Vipralamba Seva. So even though they were apparently suffering in separation, but actually when Krishna was there, they saw Krishna only in one place. But when Krishna left, they saw Krishna everywhere. They saw Krishna everywhere all the time. And so when Krishna said this, then the gopis said, oh, then you love us more even than we love you. Because out of love for us, you were ready to leave us and to let us experience apparent suffering, and we would not be able to do this to you. So your love is even more glorious than our love. And of course this is the famous place where Krishna admits that he cannot follow his own rule, that he reciprocates equally. Because in the Bhagavad Gita he says, Ye yathamam prapadyante tam sathaiva bhajamyaham. How you surrender to me, so I reciprocate. But he says, in case of you, na parayeham, Upadesamrita. As far as you're concerned, I cannot repay you. So swasadu kritya. So may you be happy with your own goodness, just with your own good nature and activities. But then, of course, he did repay them by coming as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and taking on their mood and going through all these same emotions and glorifying them all over the world. And this was how he actually repaid the devotees, by taking their mood, stealing the mood from Radharani. Radharani didn't want to give this, but he had to steal that mood from Radharani. So that's why it's important to read the Bhagavatam from the first canto. That's why it's important to read Bhagavad Gita. That's why it's important to understand who Krishna is, because otherwise when we read how the gopis were suffering, sometimes we read, this Krishna left them and they are suffering, Mother Yashoda crying all the time, and they don't even eat anything, and everything falls apart, everybody is sad, they are lean, and they would die already long ago if he just didn't say that, wait, I'm coming back. So they are suffering. So when we hear about this, we think, oh, there's so much suffering there. How is that? How is it, it's supposed to be sweet. So that's why Sanatana Goswami, he writes in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Tatratyamyachaya lukham sasarva sukham urdasu sanarinarti chashoka krishna nandaparopari. He's saying, the suffering from there, from Vrindavan, it dances on the head of all the happiness. So in other words, this suffering is a form of ecstasy. And it requires spiritual understanding so we can understand what it is. And we are not scared by this, because sometimes we read and think, oh, do I really want to go there? Oh my God. Okay, milking cows, alright, that's okay, we can do something. Even though maybe we would prefer to, just lie down and watch the multimedia Vishnu presentation, how Vishnu is glorious and everything is, all the opulences are in him. But okay, cows, cowherd boys are with Krishna, and they have all kinds of games with Krishna. They throw balls, they try to guess what's in the fist, and then they rotate each other until somebody becomes dizzy. And then Siddhartha even mentions one very sophisticated art that the cowherd boys know is making musical sounds with the armpit. They have a lot of different games there. And the gopis, so it sounds very sweet, but then we read about this separation and we think, what is so bitter? But Sanatana Goswami explains that this is not what we think. It's not this separation that we know in this material world. It's the highest ecstasy. It's so high that Krishna himself wants to enjoy it. And this is the wealth of our sampradaya. And Gaur Govinda Maharaj has written a very beautiful book called Embankment of Separation. Embankment means the ufer. It's like the bank, the shore of a river. So for a river to flow, there has to be two banks. So in the same way, for the rasa to always increase, there has to be some movement. There has to be two poles, two sides. One is meeting and Sambhoga, and one is Vipralamba, one is separation. And then it always increases higher and higher. This ecstasy becomes higher and higher. Unlimited. Unlimited. It never becomes boring. It never becomes boring. But if, you know, somebody thinks it's not for him, we always have Vaikuntha. And if you think that you like Krishna, but you don't like separation, no problem. We have Aishwarya Vrindavan. No problem. There's Aishwarya Vrindavan, where you have Krishna, Radharani, worship in all glory, like the Nimbarkas. They worship, it's Nitya Nikunj. You know, they have one lila. It's Radha Krishna getting married. For the whole eternity. It's eternal marriage party. Nimbarkas. And their mood is Sakis, you know, they're just there, you know, helping this. They don't even, you know, have Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, they're just, you know, they are not even like really there. So, okay, if you want that, you also have this, no problem. Every taste is accommodated. Krishna is Rasika Raj, he is Akhila Rasamrita Seminar. He is the ocean of all the rasas. So all the rasas are there, so no worries. However, Mahaprabhu says that the highest, and the Bhagavatam shows that the highest, the pinnacle of rasa is this Vipralamba. In other words, when there is meeting and there is separation. But these are not material meeting and separation. So Radha Kunda is the place where the most confidential circle meets with Krishna, and sometimes they are also being separated, also there. So the last verse, Krishnasyo chai pranaya vasati preyasibhyo virada kundam chasya munivir abhidastadrikeva vyadhai yat preshtairapyalamasulavam kim punarbhakti bhajam tat premedam sakridapi sarasnatura vishkaroti. Amazing verse. An amazing reward is promised here. So the result that's given here is truly unheard of. It's, you know, sometimes to see the essence of the Shastra, you see how it begins, how it ends, or you see Apurva, you see unprecedented, unheard of reward that's offered. What's the reward? Here. Of the many objects favored delight. Prabhupada uses such a nice language. Of the many objects of favored delight. Delight in itself seems to be quite favored, but Krishna has favored delight. Nectar of devotion, Prabhupada translates that. What does he say? That, oh Kotila, your beauty is so high, your eyes are more beautiful. Oh Kotila, your eyes, this is the sister of Abhimanyu, Radharani's husband, so-called. Your eyes are so beautiful that they defeat the eyes of a dog. And your breasts are just like beans.
Yes.
Dry beans.
So therefore, you being so beautiful, you are beyond attraction for Krishna. You know, you are so beautiful that even Krishna cannot attract you. Okay, maybe there are not damsels that are not very loud. Like Kotila. So of all the lovable damsels of Rajabhumi, Shrimati Radharani is certainly the most treasured object of Krishna's love. And Krishna doesn't exist without Radharani. She is Rupa Shakti. There is no Krishna without Radharani. Radharani is his heart. Radharani is Krishna's heart. In every respect, her divine Kunda is described by great sages as similarly dear to him, in every respect. Undoubtedly, Radha Kunda is very rarely attained, even by the great devotees. Therefore, it is even more difficult for ordinary devotees to attain. Now listen to this. If one simply bathes once within those holy waters, one's pure love of Krishna is fully aroused. Wow! Shri Radha Kunda ki!
Yeah.
Shri Radha Kund Snan ki!
Yeah.
Well, it's certainly an unforgettable experience. You do feel it's not an ordinary bath. But at the same time, why, how to understand this? We can see, here's a short purport, and we can see what Prabhupada writes here. It is stated that a devotee will at once develop a pure love of Krishna in the wake of gopis if he once takes a bath in Radha Kunda. One time, just one time. Sri Rupa Goswami recommends that even if one cannot live permanently on the banks of Radha Kund, he should at least take a bath in the lake as many times as possible. So, already some hint. It seems once arouses fully, but he says as many times as possible. This is a most important item in the execution of devotional service. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes in this connection that Sri Radha Kunda is the most select place for those interested in advancing their devotional service in the wake of the lady friends, Sakis, and confidential serving maids, Manjaris of Srimati Radharani. Living entities who are eager to return home to the transcendental kingdom of God, Goloka Vrindavan, by means of attaining their spiritual bodies, Siddha Deha, should live at Radha Kunda. Take shelter of the confidential serving maids of Shri Radha, and under their direction engage constantly in her service. This is the most exalted method for those engaged in devotional service under the protection of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So even Narada and Sanak Kumar do not get an opportunity to come to Radha Kund and take their baths. What then to speak of ordinary devotees? If, by great fortune, one gets an opportunity to come to Radha Kund and bathe even once, he can develop his transcendental love for Krishna, exactly as the gopis did. It is also recommended that one should live on the banks of Radha Kunda and should be absorbed in the loving service of the Lord. So Prabhupada, there are some conversations where he condemns imitative Babajis. He says they are living at Radha Kund and they have 3 dozens Sevadasis. Because what is this? What is this? How they dare do this? Why do they do this? Bhaktisiddhantaji also was saying that Radha Kund would be the best place in the world if it were not for 11 Babajis. that was at that time, that there were some 11 people who were not up to the standard. Nowadays we don't know how many. At the same time, when some devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, if we can should we make a place for ourselves in Radha Kund? Or is it, we should not, because you say that it's, it's very elevated and, it can be dangerous. So Prabhupada said, yes, why not? Yes, it would be good if we had our place in Radha Kund. So then the devotee said, and then what would we be doing there? We would be distributing books? Prabhupada said, no, he would be just relishing. He would just relish. And we have this beautiful temple of Bhakti Maharaj there. Now also Mahanini Maharaj lives there. So it is recommended, Prabhupada says, that one should live on the banks of Radha Kunda and should be absorbed in the loving service of the Lord. One should bathe there regularly and give up all material conceptions, taking shelter of Shri Radha and her assistant gopis. If one is thus constantly engaged during his lifetime, after giving up the body, he will return back to Godhead to serve Shri Radha in the same way as he meditated, during his life on the banks of Radha Kunda. The conclusion is that to live on the banks of the Radha Kunda and to bathe there daily constitute the highest perfection of devotional service. It is a difficult position to attain, even for great sages and devotees like Narada. Thus, there is no limit to the glory of Sri Radhakund. By serving Radhakund, one can get an opportunity to become an assistant of Srimati Radharani under the eternal guidance of the gopis. So, should we go there?
Yes.
Shall we all go? Yes. Very good. We should all just get and go there. And how do we go there?
By plane.
Yes, that's where the road starts. Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krode Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Virapasta Vegam. From the heart. It starts in the heart. So we go in the cave of our heart. And in this cave of our heart, we are escaping the currents of these dirty things and avoid the dangerous, poisonous things and accept the favorable, and in the good company, in loving association, showing and accepting love with respectful vision, drink the nectar of the holy name, and then our relationship will be awakened and we will be able to enter the banks of Radhakund. And if you just try to go there physically, it's very nice. It's good to visit and offer our respects. At the same time, if a person tries to enter Radhakund by force, it doesn't work. So, if you, no, I have seen many devotees who tried to enter there by force, and then they receive their Manjari Swarup, they swim in Radhakund, they play in Radhakund very happily, and then a few years pass and they are not only back to the West, but they are back to some things that the Vaishnava wouldn't do, and some of them, sadly enough, are not even identifying as devotees anymore. So it's not, it's a very exalted place, therefore offenses there can be more detrimental, and also one has to be very respectful, and one has to enter there under proper guidance. That's the only way to enter actually any holy place, but especially Radhakund. It has to be done under the proper guidance. So taking bath, it's a subject of some controversy for some reason, because at one time Prabhupada said don't bathe, because devotees started jumping and splashing and playing in Radhakund, but he said that this kunda is no different from Radharani. So when you are swimming, you are kicking Radharani with your feet. I often see some people are coming there and they're just washing their feet in Radhakund. I don't know what's the idea behind this act. I know some devotees who take bath. I know some Indras people, they take bath with their feet on the bank. So they keep the feet on the bank, and they just gonna climb down. And Mahanidhi Maharaj, he argues, he brings quite a few arguments in his book, Radhakunda Mahima Madhuri, Mahima Madhuri, right? And he describes the very respectful way of bathing, and that you pray, offer certain prayers, and you bathe in Shamakund and go face Raghunath Das Goswami Samadhi, and very respectfully 3 times dip into the water and then come out and pray, offer your prayers, and then go again to Shamakund. So it depends also on what your spiritual master tells you. I remember the first time I came there, it was 1995, and it was the day before we had to go to Radhakund, and Gopal Krishna Maharaj, my Guru Maharaj, was giving a class in Prabhupada's room. So after the class, I immediately asked, Guru Maharaj, can I take bath in Radhakund tomorrow? He said, no. So then, after the class, when people dispersed, I came closer. He said, Guru Maharaj, and if I do this very respectfully, and he said, okay. That, like that you can take it. So, you know, the public answer was no. three drops is equivalent. Some devotees, they just take water with water and pour on their head. Is also the bath. Or some say that three drops on the head is equivalent to the bath. Dinabandhu says that he goes on Bahulashtami. Anyone went on Radhakund appearance day? Oh, this is when, if you're there on Kartik, at midnight. You were? At midnight. You go Radhakund appearance day. Usually ISKCON has a Harinam and the bus goes to Radhakund. Dinabandhu says that he usually doesn't bathe, but he thinks that on her appearance day there are so many thousands of people that he says nobody will notice if one dirty person bathes. It will be kind of, you know.
That's what river for Leute zum Radharani
and also it's her appearance day, and on birthday one is very generous, so she's very generous. He goes based on that day. It's certainly a special experience, some special blessings. So at any rate, we worship Radhakund, we meditate on Radhakund, and it's good if you remember that this is the goal of our practice. If we don't do our service mechanically, just as some external activity, but if we try to awaken some taste, if we read and study Prabhupada's books regularly, and if we study Prabhupada's books, you can see that in every book Srila Prabhupada speaks about Vrindavan and Radharani. Whatever piece of philosophy he discusses, Bhagavad Gita, Ishopanishad. In Ishopanishad he discusses Radharani and the fact that our life is meant to enter Rasa Lila with Krishna. In Ishopanishad he discusses. And whatever, this is our Acharya's mood. He belongs there. And it's good if we also remember, whatever we do, and whenever we chant, if we remember the goal. That's how to defeat Niyamagraha. First of all, we will not give up practices if we remember the goal, because we will have enthusiasm. And on the other hand, it will not become mechanical, because we will remember the goal, and it will not be just a formality. You know, if you chant, I remember first time I tried this, after similar lecture by Bhanu Maharaj on Nectar of Instruction. I remember in the morning I was chanting, and then I just thought, why am I doing this? Why am I chanting? And then I thought that I'm chanting this mantra now on these beats to achieve prema to Radha Krishna. And it immediately changed my perspective. So I started chanting in a completely different way. If I remember with every mantra, why am I chanting this? What is the purpose? What is my goal? What is the prayojana? Then it will revolutionize my devotions. It will become very powerful, and it will very quickly bring me to perfection. It will transform my heart. Sri Rupa Goswami gives us this map, and the entry is the first verse. Go inside the heart and direct consciousness towards Krishna instead of these external things, and then we can approach the supreme sweetness of Shri Radhakund. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
And
Oh yeah!
if we take the theory that 3 drops are equivalent to that, our intention in this seminar studying Nectar of Instruction is to walk the path, to have new habits or powerful habits in our life that will be very constructive, that will every day transport us closer to Radha Kund or directly to Radha Kund or to Vrindavan. So we can have some of the jewels from here that every day we apply. So whatever you have written about success criteria, you review about this, and it's good to dream sometimes about what we see in our Shastra about Vrindavan, so that our hearts is filled with some enthusiasm and filled with some desire. And whatever we do in our devotional service has to be filled with this ecstatic longing for Vrindavan and for Radha Kund. And even though the acharyas are always saying that we should physically stay there, then the next line they say, if you cannot stay physically, you should stay mentally there. And Dham Seva is not only visiting, is not only going there physically, although it's also important, but it's also great. But also, if we just remember the Dham, or if we think about the Dham, or if we want to go there, it's also Dham Seva. So, Shri Vrindavan Ki Jai. Thank you very much. Please accept my